Hey everyone, Tim with Collect Jurassic here with another news update about Mattel's Jurassic World toy line for 2023, talking about Dino Trackers. If you tuned into my last news and update video, I did a pretty good job kind of kicking off the reveals for this line, I think, with a couple of new assortments for the bigger size figures, but we're going to go today and talk about even another big figure, which is the Endoraptor, as well as some smaller figures in the new assortment, which I'm going to go ahead and jump right into and talk about here. This is the Danger Pack. This is the Danger Pack Brachiosaurus. So now this one's actually a repaint, right? But we can see that it's actually pretty unique coloration on this figure. This will be the third version of the Baby Brachiosaurus that we've gotten. And this one, I actually really dig the colors on it. The other two have kind of been solid colors with gradients, but this one actually has some patterning to it. And like all the Dino Trackers, every figure kind of has this like jungle locale associated with it. Sorry, not necessarily jungle, but like any locale. There's jungle, desert, water. I think there's like a I don't know, is there like a forest? We'll see in a second as we go back through these figures. But I believe this guy's vibe is a jungle. Yeah, I mean, fun colors on this one. You can even see that this one has a DNA scan tab, which the first two didn't have. So right above the legs there. But yeah, this is a great little figure already. So if you didn't pick it up before, and now you have another chance, which is the nice thing about repaints, is that if you missed the figure the first time around, you can always grab the latest version of it. And this new one's actually pretty cool. So definitely be tracking this one down, no pun intended. That's the first new Danger Pack figure and the only repaint in this assortment. So let's go ahead and look at the other three. We have the, let me see if I can pronounce this right, Elaphrosaurus, so another dinosaur I personally hadn't heard of, but all new from Mattel in any case, and definitely gives me some almost like, I guess it's colored a little bit like the Anathosaurus figure, with this like lighter highlight. I don't know. That's not like necessarily an all new thing for Mattel to kind of take another figure's paint deco and tweak it a little bit for a different figure. So here on the Elaphrosaurus, I really hope I'm saying that right, Elaphrosaurus. Looks like we have a little bit of feathers on the back of the head and some really sharp teeth. Almost looks like a snake. Again, I'm not really familiar with this species or, kind of what the modern paleontology accurate representation of it is, but this one's got little ridges on his tail, bumps on his legs, lots of like embellished detail that Mattel likes to add. Yeah, I mean, other than that, the defining features here are just sort of like a skinnier proportions and those like spikes on the top of its head or feathers, whatever you call them. So interesting little guy. I'm definitely going to have to do some Googling on this species to familiarize myself with what this species is closer to the time when these toys come out next year. It also looks like another jungle figure, if you will. So moving on to the next Danger Pack figure, we have the Austroraptor, not to be confused with a Austroraptor, right, from Dominion. This is a newer figure, newer species. Again, not a repaint, all new figure. Very interesting paint coloration on this one. I'm going to go ahead and jump on the sculpt first. I think it's a really interesting sculpt. If we were looking at the figure before this, a little bit generic, a little bit hard to discern from some of the Mattel toys we've already gotten here and there as far as a small carnivore goes. But this Austroraptor looks much different with its really elongated snout. Almost looks like a duck, which is kind of fun, I think. You can see it's still a raptor with those raptor claws and all that, but the paint coloration, it's definitely a little strange, a little bit like low effort, which, I've seen a lot on some of these newer Mattel releases. They just don't go as heavy with the paint. And this one looks like it has, the paint just kind of stops at like the tail, basically. There's no paint on the claws or anything like that, but they did try to inject some contrast by putting the arms in a different paint color, a different cast plastic color, and then trying to blend that with that paint stripe. So A for effort. I'll have to wait and see this one in person to see if it's a little bit prettier in hand, but definitely a unique silhouette to be sure. Lastly, we have the Anathosaurus. This one's actually from the newest season of Camp Cretaceous, which I still have not watched all the way through, so I haven't actually seen this guy in action, but it is a Camp Cretaceous figure based from that show, a semi-aquatic creature. So you can see the little icon up there is actually for like the beach side. That's supposed to be like a little water with beach. So we're getting Anathosaurus. That's good to know that Camp Cretaceous is still getting a little bit of support from the Mattel Jurassic line, though there's no Camp Cretaceous branding on this packaging per se. But pretty cool quadruped figure. Not a great angle to really see every part of it, but it does look like it has some really nice paint coloration with some lighter paint on the belly for the contrast, as well as some darker shading on the neck, and lots of large teeth, right? So I'm hoping that we can get another view of this figure to really kind of ascertain like how long that neck is and all that stuff, because I know that's one of the defining features of the figure, of the species rather, that was in Camp Cretaceous, was had kind of a long neck from what I saw. And this one looks like the neck is posable, which is really nice. Of course, the arms and jaws and all that stuff are posable too. So danger packs coming for Dino Trackers, the smaller assortment. But let's go ahead and jump over to the main event of this video, I think, and that is the Track N Attack Indoraptor. When I first heard about this thing, I didn't get eyes on it, and I was a little skeptical because I was like, do we really need another Indoraptor? But now that I actually see it, this thing's actually awesome. Indoraptor is not even one of my favorite Jurassic dinosaurs, not even one of my favorite toys, but this Track N Attack one looks like it kind of simplifies some of the toys that came before it to kind of give us the definitive version, at least in my opinion, of the Indoraptor, with some tracking accessories and some other stuff. But before we take a closer look, let's go ahead and see what came before us. We have the Fallen Kingdom ultra posable or super posable Indoraptor. This one was one that came out all the way back in 2018 when Mattel started the Jurassic World toy line. It was a pretty cool figure at the time, lots of articulation, almost a precursor to Hammond collection if you think about it. Wasn't a lot of other figures that ever came out with this much articulation in the core line, but kind of had a not perfectly film accurate face, but the coloration and the posability was really, really cool. And it was closely followed up that same year by the Grab and Growl Indoraptor, which definitely in the head had a much more film accurate look. The eyes looked a little bit more evil. There's kind of a snarl with its mouth that I think matched the film better. But this figure had a really like gimmicky action feature where it like scratched the air and its mouth moved. And so a lot of that was tied up with the action feature, and there really wasn't a lot of articulation you could do with it. And it was huge. It was way too big. I mean, Indoraptor is not a huge dinosaur, and this thing was pretty big. So technically it wasn't to scale. So the nice thing about the Track N Attack Indoraptor is that it's kind of an amalgamation of both of those toys that came before it. It's got the accuracy on the head. I mean, you can see we'll get up close here in a second. The head looks a lot more like the movie, less, toothy and all that, like that first superposable figure. And it also has some cool action gimmicks still. Looks like it's got a button on the top of the chest that makes it roar. Has some lights too. Looks like the eyes light up. So it is similar to the Grab and Growl Indoraptor in that regard, that the eyes light up. And that's about it. Otherwise, it's all articulated, rotating tail, legs, arms that move. So that's really nice. And that's not something that Grab and Growl Indoraptor had the ability to do. So again, this is sort of an amalgamation. And it's Dino Trackers, so it does look like it has a little piece of tracking gear you can kind of make out behind the figure. And also it has that locale up in the right-hand corner, the jungle. So pretty cool stuff. And we'll definitely be seeing more of this figure, more photos, all that good stuff, and seeing how that capture gear fits on soon enough. But this is just the first sneak peek at what's going to be a pretty cool new Indoraptor figure for Jurassic World, of course, coming out next year, 2023, with the rest of the Dino Trackers assortment. So these last two videos have really just scratched the surface for what's coming our way next year from Mattel Jurassic. If you thought, after Dominion, they're going to take a year off and not release too many toys, well, good news, that's not true. There's a ton of stuff coming out. So if you're interested in seeing more toy reveals, definitely subscribe here on YouTube to Collect Jurassic. Hit that subscribe button, and also follow me on social media so you can see all the new stuff as it comes out. But I'm Tim with Collect Jurassic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.